all stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Green, could you give us prayer, please?
Father, thank you again for this time we can come together and discuss matters of the city. Thank you that the cold weather's about over. I think we can all appreciate some warmer weather. Farmers can get in the field. Father, we thank you that you sent your Son to atone for our sins, for mankind. And Lord, again, I just ask that your wisdom and guidance tonight as we talk about issues, that we have ears to understand and not just ears to respond. And thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Ms. Lewis, could I have a roll call, please?
Green,
Here.
Paprick,
Here.
Gibson,
Here.
Fox,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Swisher,
Here.
Brandt,
Here.
Simmons.
Next up, we have the adoption of the agenda. Everybody's had a chance to look over it. If so, I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second, Allen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have approve or correct work session minutes of March 3rd, 2026, and regular session minutes of March 3rd, 2026. I need a motion and a second to approve that, if everybody's okay with that.
Move to approve. Green.
Second, Paprick.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, we have committee reports. First up, we have Property Finance, Budget, and Audit Committee. That's council members Paprick and Fox.
No report as far as like the monthly finances go or anything. It's just, our committee's kind of be meeting with, one of the, what's the other committee? John, what's the name of your committee?
Code Committee.
Sorry, oh, yeah.
Code.
Yeah. With Code Committee, just to, keep working toward a permit fee structure that works for our city.
Thank you, Mr. Paprick. Mr. Fox, do you have anything?
to add to that.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Community Development and Code Committee. That's council members Allen and Simmons.
Well, Jim stole my thunder. Yeah, not much in terms of details, but had a positive work session last night, I think. Next step is getting kind of a cross-committee meeting set up, work session set up to continue those discussions and hopefully come up with a good solution to bring in front of the council, Your Honor, sir, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Mr. Simmons is not here. Next up, we have Public Relations and Public Safety Committee. That's council members Swisher and Gibson.
No report.
I have no report, Your Mayor.
Thank you. Next up, we have Municipal Service and Personnel Committee. That's council member Brandt and Green.
Yes, Your Honor. First off, I wanted to announce the new compost hours coming up effective March 18th, which is tomorrow. And we'll be open 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and 7 a.m. to noon on Saturday. So anybody who wants to get stuff taken out there, get your yards cleaned up, whatever, we've gone back to our summer hours again. The only other thing I have is just a quick discussion on the sales tax, and that's coming up on the ballot here in April 7th. Once again, it's half-cent sales tax. Sunsets in 3 years, going to be used strictly for streets and possibly some sidewalk work that we do need. So we are doing informational meetings right now. We've done 2 public meetings up here and may do another one. Met with civic groups. I know, Drew, you met with
Who did I meet with? That's a great. The Rotary, yes.
Yeah, Drew met with Rotary. Last night, we met with the Chamber Board. Anne Marie met with Kiwanis today. Tomorrow, we're meeting with Midday Optimist at noon. And would encourage any group in Marshall, if they would like to have a presentation, we'd be glad to. I know they met with the MMU Board, so we'd be glad to put one on. And like I said before, we are not going out and pushing people to vote yes. We're going out to inform people so they can make an informed decision about this important tax for our street program. So with that, Drew, if you got anything else or want to add?
Not specifically, unless we wanted to get into the whole spiel, but I did have a question, JD, from a citizen that we talked about this at our last open forum in here. It was about who's going to inspect the material that comes in on the truck. And you were talking about having an engineer or somebody on site on, even with Randy, inspecting the material so that we know that it's good material. Is that correct?
Yeah, we would like to be able to use Lamp Reinerson for that, and then eventually get our people trained to the point where they can do that work
Okay.
themselves, yeah.
Do you know if that's something that's set in stone or we're trying to get that done?
Not necessarily set in stone. Lamp Reinerson is developing a project manual for us, which kind of covers all of these bases. And once we've kind of, at a department level, accepted that project manual, then I think we would want to discuss with them, engaging them on the, so for example, like the slurry job in August, we would have to have a discussion of, do we think it's worthwhile to engage them on that job, or do we need to wait until there's a more complex job ahead to engage them on? The number one issue that we're trying to avoid is we had an issue this past summer with delivery of some less than quality slurry, and we just want to make sure that we've got both the protections in the contract as well as somebody on site to recognize substandard material and send it back.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that explanation. And again, we're not up here telling you which way to vote. We're just trying to give you information. This tax is 2 cents on a $4 cup of coffee individually, which is why we like it as a sales tax. Everybody that buys things in Marshall helps pay for our streets. And come to one of the meetings, ask us questions. We're happy to answer any questions you might have about the sales tax and get out and vote.
Along that, the street, I forgot to mention, Randy, they did do a pre-bid meeting with some of the contractors that'll be bidding. So I think it'd be good policy to mention that we possibly will be doing material inspections on site to them prior to them bidding, so they know what they're gonna be up against if they send in a bad load of whatever it is. So, okay. But he did have some pre-bid meetings with, you say, 3 different contractors, so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Probably a good time to mention also that if you go to our website for the city, it's in the upper right-hand corner, is that correct?
Yeah, it says transportation sales tax
Okay.
2026.
There's a tab that says Transportation Sales Tax 2026 where you can get a lot of information if you're curious. There's facts, questions, and just broad information about what we're doing and what it's about, so. Okay.
I had someone ask me about picking up sticks. When's that start again, or are we doing that?
I am not sure, is RTS, when they start their
Do we
Yard
know?
yard waste.
waste?
Generally, it's April 1st.
April 3rd? Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, council members Brandt and Green. Next up, Mr. Kerman, City Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to bring to your attention something that Missouri Valley College approached us about that's kind of time sensitive, so bear with me with a bit of background here for a moment. You might recall that back in 2021, the city had a standing congressional earmark that Emmanuel Cleaver's office had won associated with the removal of that old hospital, the old Fitzgibbons Hospital, and that was for $1 million. It was going to be allowed to be used for demolition, but it had to result in housing that met certain criteria, like low-income type housing. When the city abandoned the plan to to pursue that low-income housing with the Nash Group, the earmark didn't go away. And so Cleaver's office was looking for a local recipient that could still utilize that money. And we collaborated with Missouri Valley College and did an agreement through HUD, which was the grantor, that allowed the city to be the primary recipient, but allowed Missouri Valley College to be the sub-recipient. And it was a fairly complex administratively. However, Missouri Valley College put a really, really bright guy on the case, very, very experienced. And we were able to successfully navigate that entire project, and it's since been closed out, and they received all those funds rather than those funds going back up to the feds. So since then, an interesting development has occurred that's caused us to kind of revisit that arrangement. About 2 years ago, I had a conversation with the president and his team about community needs that the college might be able to help with, and one of the major things that came up was that they are extremely well-positioned to serve as a post-disaster shelter. If you've ever been in a community that's been hit by a tornado or a massive fire that's displaced lots of residents, you know, they all show up and they've got their families with them. They often have their pets with them. Sometimes they have medications or oxygen that needs attention. And you just suddenly have a very, very high-need group of people that can't all just be put into the same building. When I've been through this in the past, the first thing you have to do is make sure that there's no registered sex offenders in the sheltering area with families and things like that. So you want a facility that can handle housing a large amount of people, but allows you to separate people accordingly to protect their privacy and protect their well-being. But you've also got to have facilities for receiving shipments of food and water from FEMA, unloading that stuff, getting it into the hands of the people that need it. If you're setting up a triage, you may need some highly specialized spaces in order to treat, walking wounded or that kind of thing that may be coming in. And in any event, Missouri Valley College identified the Burns Center as a possible location for a community-wide post-disaster shelter, and they did in fact apply for a grant through Congressman Alford's office. And I wrote a letter in support of that project. I think it's very worthwhile. However, just in this past week, the Congressman's office informed the college that they are no longer going to allow these individual schools to be the applicant, that they want a public entity like us to be the applicant. So, we would be reinventing the wheel here if we had not had such a successful project under HUD. And so with that in mind, Dr. Parisi reached out and asked if the city would consider functioning as the recipient and allowing MVC to be the subrecipient for a $2.2 million grant that would set that facility up as a post-disaster shelter. That usually includes upgrades to restrooms, upgrades to HVAC systems. It always includes generator backups. There's just any number of things that need to happen for a facility to kind of be turnkey shelter. With that in mind, I think we absolutely can accommodate this. There's a lot of heavy lifting on the administrative end, and it puts a lot of pressure on the frontline staff in City Hall and the finance staff. However, we've been through this once before. And the individual that the college would bring to the table to facilitate this with us has a great track record and really understands what he's doing, very professional, and I'm certain that we can work together. The biggest issue is that time is not on our side here. They applied for this grant and then found out within days that they needed to find a different recipient. So about the only thing that I don't think that I can really speak to with any authority here with you today is the possibility that if there is any expectation that there be a match from the city, we are not in a position, nor have any of you had an opportunity to discuss what that match would look like. Now, I'm certain that we can utilize the fact that the city is going to be doing all the administrative lifting as in-kind match. I just don't know how much they will count that towards, and I don't know if they will ask anything else. So what I would like to do, given the short window that we have here to respond, I'd like to be able to go back to the college president tomorrow and tell him that we are on board and get together with him and put together the collaborative agreement that we would need to execute, very much like we did when we handled the HUD money. And this just means, it just spells out all the responsibilities of the college, all of the post-project responsibilities, including audits and things like that, that the college has to adhere to. And it lays out the role as the city as the recipient, but not as the sub-recipient. So the biggest issue that would be out there would be this match, and whether or not the college is gonna cover the entire match, whether or not our administrative support could be a partial match. But I think it may be worth pursuing. I think it may be worth talking to them and seeing what the award's gonna be and what, if any, match may come to bear. The no agreement, there's not gonna be an agreement in place prior to us knowing what the match amount's going to be. So we are not gonna have committed to this line of funding without knowing whether or not there's gonna be an expectation by the Congress that the city also match in addition to the college. So I think that's something we'll be able to get worked out relatively quickly. So I promised the president that I would bring this to your attention tonight because it was the earliest opportunity. And, you know, it's really up to you if you want to go ahead and vote, if you, or to have me proceed with this, or if you just want to give me verbal direction to proceed. I will meet with the president tomorrow, the college president tomorrow, and the first order of business will be trying to drill down on this possible match issue. But I thought that I'd share this with you. I think it's a worthwhile project. I think it has the potential to benefit the community at large during a post-disaster event when we would need it the most. And I believe it would be worth the extra effort on our part. So happy to answer questions the best I can.
What exactly is the due date?
I'm sorry?
The date?
The due date was apparently last week, and they've opened this, they've given them some leeway to explore. The email that I got indicated that Congressman Alford's office is waiting to find out if the city can function as a recipient. But I'll know quite a bit more tomorrow if we go forward.
It sounds good to me. Do you need us to just say, go ahead, or?
There's going to be subsequent approvals that have to go through city council before you can commit the city to anything. So I don't think that you have to vote to direct me to engage the president in this conversation. A vote along those lines probably would help, because then we could at least represent to the congressman's office that the city is serious about capturing this money and keeping it in Marshall. So there's no reason why they couldn't do a motion and just direct the city administrator to.
I don't think so, with the understanding that we're not committing any funds
Yeah.
until we have
Yeah.
the full information and
Yeah.
and all of the documents.
Yes, yeah.
So we wouldn't, if we got the money, we wouldn't give the money till the college until stuff was done? Or how does?
Yeah, the way that happened last time with the HUD grant was, once everything was approved and they started construction on those dorms, HUD would release, we would turn in like certified payroll and invoices, and then HUD would examine those. They'd release the money to us, and then we would pass it back through to the college. And I expect that this one would work the same way. So we wouldn't be fronting the money necessarily, but they also couldn't expect money in advance of reimbursement.
Okay. Well, I would make a motion that we allow JD to go talk to Missouri Valley College to see where this might go.
Second, Allen.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There you go.
All right, I'll have a report for you as soon as we know more. Thank you.
Next up is the mayor's report. Got 3 pages, Drew.
Yes, finally.
First, on the 10th, we had a planning and zoning meeting, which there wasn't very much going on there, but I did bring up and had asked them to consider or kind of look into maybe changing some things and getting smaller footprint houses on some of these smaller lots. So Mr. Michaels said that he would look into that. On the 11th, we met with MMU, all of us did, and Jeff and Tony and his board to discuss some needs. Everybody's aware of that, what we talked about. I think they did a good job of presenting to us, and I like that, working together. So thank you, Tony and Jeff, and your board. Yesterday, Monday on the 16th, we had a work session with Marshall Public Schools Superintendent, Mr. Pettit, to discuss getting to a point where we could close this contract out with the land and be done with it. There's still some things that need to be addressed. Hopefully, we can come to some sort of solution before the May deadline, but I'd like to get that done and off the books. We also talked about the fee schedule, which Anna Marie, Alan, and Harold, what y'all brought to us was pretty good. I know there's still a lot of work that we gotta do, but I appreciate it. Keep working on it. And one final thing that I have here in front of me is tomorrow is a workshop down in the library. It's a local community workshop on plastic pollution. And it says, let's talk about the excess amount of plastic in our lives these days and what we can do about it. So they're gonna be putting on a workshop tomorrow that is in the library. The workshop is 2 hours long. They have pizza, I see that on there.
From Loveless.
From Loveless, which is a good thing. That is
Nice.
Wednesday, March 18th. That is from 5:30 to 7:30. And it says the event will be led by Dana and Ethan Duke and Mulaney. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her last name, I'll have it messed up. The Missouri River Bird Observatory biologists based in Saline County who have been working on the problem of plastic for several years. One thing you'll learn is how plastic affects our health, what other communities are doing, and opportunities to act locally for plastic reduction. And it says here, of course, and I got this little flyer, I guess, is it posted out there somewhere on the board?
I'm not sure if it's up there or not.
But it's also got for questions, you can email Dana. And it's got her number and her email address on there, but that looks like a pretty interesting deal. So that's a workshop on plastic pollution tomorrow night in the library from 5:30 to 7:30. So I'll see everybody there. And that's my report. You good, Drew?
I am. Microplastics are very interesting, if you ever study the microplastics in the body. Yeah,
We're
they,
gonna talk about that.
yeah, like, when they do autopsies, there's plastic in every tissue of our body because of microplastics. It's very fascinating.
You got a plastic water bottle.
I've had this for 6 months.
His middle name is Plastic.
That probably doesn't help.
It'll live forever.
All right.
Makes it worse.
Drinking plastic.
Okay, next up, we have business from the audience. It's limited 3 minutes per speaker. Any person, resident or non-resident, wishing to address the council may approach the microphone at this time, state their name and their comments. So if there's anyone, I ask that you would go to the podium.
Hello, my name is Ana Garcia. You know, I run a business, La Paz Grocery Restaurant, for 20 years. So I have some issues on the restaurant. So I've been explained to them. They started, it was, let's see, 4 years ago. They do it, they put in like a rock first and a big hole from the restaurant. And after that, we had some heavy rain, it's digging out a hole again. What they did after that, they come into putting like a metal place on top, and they put in like a fan, that way nobody can be close to them, that way we evade the accidents on there. but they've been having that, thing that play for 3 years maybe. And now on, I have another hall and at the other side of the building, and I think it's gonna be this, the big problem I have in the front is gonna be cause another problem behind the building, so. I would like to, they can help me to fix that big problem we have there, because I have a lot of customers that come to me and ask me, listen, Anna, when they gonna fix this? And I say, I really spoke to them, they don't listen to me, that's why the reason I'm here today, so. You went there one time, right? You was the person who was there? No?
I go there a lot, I love your restaurant.
Thank you.
And the grocery store.
And the grocery store too, though.
Yes.
I will be on site tomorrow with Randy, and I know you've talked to the other team of engineers, but we have a different firm that we'd like to come out here and put fresh eyes on this. Clearly, the solution that was proposed by ESS is not, it has not stopped the issue that you're having. So we will get right on this, and we will address this and make sure that, that things are safe and put back together, and then I'll plan to come back with a report for council as well. But you will see me tomorrow.
Okay, we'll be there, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
JD, if you could, keep us posted.
I will.
Okay, next up, we have Marshall Municipal Utilities Annual Report, and that is gonna be given by Mr. Bergstrom.
Good evening, council, your honor. I'm here tonight. My name is Jeff Bergstrom, General Manager for Marshall Municipal Utilities. And I am here on behalf of the Marshall Municipal Utilities Board of Public Works to present our annual report. I'd like to start out, you know, we were really able to accomplish a lot last year. I think if you look through this report, and we did that, and a lot of these jobs, you know, when you're out doing construction and working around electricity and plants and different things, are dangerous jobs. For the first time that I can recall, and I think in history, we had 0 recordable incidents. And I think that's tremendous effort by staff and management to accomplish that. That allows people to go home every day the same way they come to work. And we've been close the last couple of years before that. I think we had 1 or 2 accidents, but we finally got to 0. Any of you familiar with the EMR rating? Our EMR rating is 0.7. 1 is average, above 1 is bad, below 1 is good. We have a very good EMR rating and have dropped our work comp rates $300,000 annually. So it's important to our customers as well. It's good for employees, it's good for our customers. So I just wanted to start out with that. I think, you know, our staff was able to accomplish a lot of things for our customers last year. I'll hit on a couple of the highlights. I think everybody on the council is aware we've got a big energy center project going. That's going to be great for the community, great for the utilities. And there's been a lot of work on that. I want to thank Elizabeth as well. There's a lot of agreements involved in that process, and she's been a big help on that. We've got some more to come, but I think we're over the hump with the majority of them. Another large project that I think most people are aware of was the College Street water main replacement. That was pretty in-depth, very well needed, and just appreciate, you know, the citizens and everybody's patience while we work through that. We do have a goal of 1% water main replacement per year moving forward. We have 100 miles of mains, 1% per year is 1 mile. That means all our mains need to last 100 years. We have not been hitting that pace, but that is a goal that we have established for ourselves. We were fortunate to get over $600,000 of water main materials purchased through a grant, and that will support that maintenance main replacement program for the next several years. So we've got a little help trying to reach that goal. One thing I do want to mention on water main replacements, I think some people think that the city puts in new streets and we go, oh, look there, let's dig it up. That is certainly not the case. We coordinate with Randy, with the street department, provide that information to him. And we also, recently, we've got a new website. We want to share that information with our customers. So if you go to our website and our projects page, you can see what our plans are. Those are the same plans we share with Randy. And just want everybody to know, we're all taxpayers too, and we certainly understand the struggle that the city has maintaining streets, and we do not want to, worst thing we could do is go in and damage new streets. So just want to kind of set that aside. I've heard different rumors and things like that. With that being said, you guys put a new street in on top of a water main that we've never had a problem with, it could break the next day. Things like that happen. We certainly don't want them to, but we can't prevent everything. So, moving on a little bit, IT and Broadband Department continues to work on the USDA broadband grants. We are meeting all of our take rate and subscription and financial goals. We're actually exceeding those. That project's going real well. And also, I think we've been under budget with that on all of our projects. In some cases, about 30,000 for each project, which will create some opportunities. We've been able to buy some equipment, not just do the install with that, but we've bought some equipment that's helped us, and we'll be able to keep moving forward. Tony's working on some other opportunities right now. He's reached out to USDA. I think you guys are familiar. We're trying to build a home for that department. We've created it. And so he's reached out to see if we can count any money we spend on that building as in kind, which would be great. So staff continues to work on taking advantage or looking for those kind of opportunities. We are looking at the completion of a water distribution master plan with Burns McDonald. We'd like to couple that with a recently completed plan that we had done at our water treatment plant. We think when we get both these plans together, that'll help us prioritize what the needs are for our water system as a whole in our community. So lots to come there. We know we're going to have some high dollar items, but when you maintain infrastructure that's from 0 to 100 years old, those items can be expected. We continue our overhead to underground projects. Been in the Potomac Hills area. We're continuing that. That's been a great project for us. I know we've probably buried primary, secondary, and service lines to 600 homes. And we haven't had an ice storm since. You know, ice storm and access and maintaining those lines is expensive. If you've lived in those neighborhoods and been through an ice storm, you've been without power for a long time, and we've had employees out working for a long time. And we want to avoid both those. That program's been really good, and we look to continue that. Just kind of moving on here. Admin, you know, I think I want to highlight some of that. MMU billing implemented a text-to-pay option. You know, we are customers too. We like options on how we can pay our bills. I like Tony's efforts to continue to look for ways to provide our customers options when they need to pay theirs. So I thought that was important to highlight. We'll move on here. We did also, we're doing some succession planning. Through some of that succession planning, we created a people risk and outreach department that's going to allow us to spend more time on our webpage. We think it's important that we communicate with our customers what we're doing, how we're doing it, and whether there's any incidents, outages, or whatever. So we're covering a couple bases there. We're addressing succession planning and also improving what we do for our customers. This is something that's important as well. I think as a municipal utility, we don't send money to Wall Street, we send it right up here. That's the benefit of having a municipal-owned utility. Last year, MMU was able to contribute in cash and free services to the city of Marshall. Free services, $324,800. And cash, based on payment in lieu of taxes, at $1,886,943. So that's a total of $2.2 million, a little bit more than that. But I think that's important to highlight. You get investor-owned utilities. They send their money to Wall Street. Our money stays local. We're not for profit. As a utility, You know, we try to cover our expenses. You know, anytime our revenue goes up, so do our expenses, but the citizens as a whole benefit through that pilot payment. With the Marshall Energy Center that we brought up earlier, that is gonna be another large industrial load, that should, increase the pilot fees that come to the city. And there's a potential for a franchise fee as well. I know Elizabeth's been working on that. We're gonna see how that looks. Moving on to page 12, kind of going over the financials. Electric department, we did see a fund balance decrease over the year. A little over $2.5 million on that. Primarily, that was due to our generating unit number 6 and some repairs we had to make there. We did recover some insurance. We had a boiler and machinery policy on that unit. Did get some reimbursement. Wasn't enough. It was 1.1, I believe around 1.1, 1.2 million on a over $4 million project. So cash did decrease in that area. Water department, it does show a net increase in that department, but that is due to $3.5 million in grant revenue we received. You take that grant revenue out and we would have been significantly in the hole. Sewer department, we're pretty much maintaining, gained a little bit there. We backed off on some CIPP lining, sanitary sewer lines, and some open cut projects, knowing that we've got about a $3 million project at our wastewater treatment plant to replace a filter belt press system. We should have enough cash on hand to do that. Once that gets done, we'll kind of pick back up on. So we're kind of having to juggle some things to make the money work and do that. Natural gas, it continues to gain cash. If you look there, it's still repaying some debt back to the electric department that funded that natural gas line. Natural gas line is one reason we have the Marshall Energy Center located here. Without that line, we wouldn't have had that opportunity. So overall, the utilities fund balance has dropped right at $2 million for the year. You know, that's was kind of expected. You know, I think we're going to closely monitor that. We've got some things we put in place. We're looking at rate of return, and we've got some cash reserve policies, and we'll continue to monitor those and try to stay ahead of any issues. MMU Recycle Center, if you look there, we did have a net loss of $108,000, $108,145. When we presented this report to the board, they wanted us to include that in the free services. So if you do that, that bumps the free services and cash up to 2.3 million. And I think that's about all I have or I wanted to highlight. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
Jeff, you said just a minute ago about overhead underground power lines.
Correct.
Underground. I mean, are we doing this all over town or is this just like?
No, these are and let me help you a little bit. So if we've got overhead lines in rear lots, walkway easements is what we call them. You can't access them with a truck. You know, when they were put in, there was no trees, there were no fences, there were no sheds. So they're really hard. I mean, the only way you can work on them, a lot of them, I've climbed a lot of those poles and it's a lot more expensive to repair those. So those are the ones we're targeting to put underground, or the ones that we benefit the most from. And we've been through, we've done Plaza, Leewood, and Hillside. I think that's the first area we did. The west of Odell, Rose Hill, Mission, Highlander, some of those streets. And actually we've done the east side, a portion of those as well. Lynn, Colby, Dexter, we've been in that area. Several smaller areas in town where there was a line going through backyards. Now we're in the Potomac Hills area. We hope to finish that in about 2 or 3 years. So that eliminates tree trimming, which is a cost, and hopefully keeps our customers' lights on when everybody else's are off. That's kind of how we like to think about that.
Okay. I have one other question for you too, and that was with you said the broadband. So I know that you got internet and all that stuff. Are you through doing everybody, hooking them up in the country, or?
No, we've got, so there was two grants. The first area was about 2 miles, a 2-mile ring around Marshall. That grant is completed. We're still hooking up customers, we still get those requests. But when we put together our original budget, we said we're gonna have this many customers, you know, we had some projections, and we're gonna have this much revenue. We've exceeded that and pretty good in both those categories. Round 2 was a majority of that was Saline County, and we're continuing to work. You know, we've got fiber to multiband, you know, a majority of the county. When we submitted that, part of the grant scoring was based on underserved, so we didn't include areas where, you know, Slater's not in that. You know, areas where it was already available, if we'd included those, we'd have lost points. I think, I don't know if we're about 50% complete with that. I think the deadline to have that completed is 2028, so we've got a few more years. I think last month the guys, we've got contractors that are installing the conduit. In-house crews are going back, installing the fiber, doing the splicing. I think they got 12 miles of fiber blown in the conduit last month, and our goal is around 10 to keep pace. But Jim and Tony, I tell you what, USDA paperwork, we got our quickest grant or reimbursement the other day, and I think it's a record. Yeah. So they've kind of moved the goalposts on us a few times, and it's been frustrating, but staff's done a really good job getting that completed.
Anybody else got any questions for him?
Yeah, just a question, like we hear from citizens, especially now during the sales tax that we're trying to pass for streets, is why not have MMU pay for streets?
Why not? That's a good question, Tony.
Yeah, and ever since I've lived here, you know, you always hear MMU's got all this money and all these things. I know Tony did some work a few years ago to that end, but obviously you mentioned some big numbers tonight, whether that was the water or the electric, that we got some money back, et cetera. So it takes a lot of money when things happen in the utility world, but why isn't it feasible? Where are you guys at on your reserve fund type things and what you need and yeah?
No, that's a good question, Drew, and it comes up a lot of times, you know, why do you guys have all this money? We sat down with the board in 2022 and we developed a cash reserve policy that uses metrics to determine how much, what those minimums are and what those maximums are. So, and it looks at our 5-year capital plan. Tony can probably explain that in better detail. So we've got that. I will tell you right now, we are below the minimums based on that cash reserve policy. We have challenges ahead. Utilities is a fee-based service. So cross-subsidization is not a good thing. You could take an area that's operating good, trying to help an area that's bad, you might end up with 2 bad areas. And so that's never a good thing. Something else I might mention, you know, this discussion comes up a lot down at the pool. There are some city administrators that show up down there and represent their utility. They don't have boards and those kind of things. And kind of a lot of what I hear is if you lean on your utilities, we have 6,000 electric customers. That is captive. You're not getting money from anybody else. So if you lean on those customers, you know, you're placing a burden on a small group. Sales tax, which is what you guys are proposing, again, I'm not for or against it, but I'm just trying to educate people on how that stuff works. When you have a sales tax, you no longer have a captive group that's funding those projects. You know, sales tax theoretically could be worldwide. You could have people from all over the world. You know, we do have some events in Marshall. I think when you have festivals on the square, MVC's got sporting events, the rodeo, college football games, high school's got events, big wrestling tournaments, and you have those people coming in from other communities. That's an opportunity to get money for the facilities they use here or their teams or whatever that is. And you know, to me, that's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, why would you have 6,000 people pay for it when you could have hundreds of thousands of people. So your revenue base is much broader through a tax than it would be if you're just going into the utilities pocket. So even if we had the money, which we don't,
Yeah.
it still wouldn't make sense from a perspective. So, you know, there's, you know,
It wouldn't be 2 cents on a cup of coffee, is what you're saying.
no, no. And, you know, sales tax is paid for by people that use it. You know, you'd be taking money from ratepayers to support things you could be getting money from people out of town to do. So it just, from an overall business perspective, and this is my opinion, that does not make sense. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
And Jeff, I know y'all have reserves, big reserves, but also all these power lines, power poles, your power plant, the generators, it's not like you have insurance on none of that. So if a national disaster comes, then you gotta have money to replace it because insurance does not cover none of that. Is that a safe
No,
statement?
that's correct. And we can insure a few things. We've got a boiler machinery policy, but it really just covers some big items. Transmission line, we have 20 miles, 161,000 volt transmission line. You cannot get insurance on that. Distribution poles, transformer, wire, you cannot get insurance on that. So yeah, and just like you guys, we can't go to the bank and borrow money. It's like if we don't have the money to fix the things that our customers rely on to get a service, we're in trouble. We've done something wrong. And I think, you know, this cash reserve policy that we've developed is really, I think, help explains, you know, why we have what we have. You know, we've got capital. When you've got infrastructure that's from 0 to 100 years old, some of those items, and you know, your depreciation doesn't cover. We've got a transmission line from our water treatment plant to town. That's what gets water here. It's 80 years old. That thing was fully depreciated. Even if you're covering depreciation, the cost 80 years later is way more, and, you know, so we try to cover depreciation, but we try to be responsible. We don't want to have more cash than we need. That's why we have a maximum, and so that's been something we recently developed that I think we could share with people that would better explain why we have the money we do. It's utility business is expensive. It's 24/7, 365. Failure is not an option. When things break, we have to be able to fix them. That's my expectation as a customer, and I think that's our customer's expectation as well.
Thank you. If you
Yeah.
get too much, throw it this way.
Yeah, I'll have our #1 financial guy work on that.
No, y'all do a good job. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have appointment, and I have one here. And it is for Marshall Housing Authority. And it says, I respectfully submit for your consideration the following appointment. And that is Rachel Howery. That is a new appointment, and her term expires October 1st of 2027. Is that right? So if everybody's all right with that, I could ask for a motion and a second.
I move to approve the appointment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Rachel, you are in. Ms. Lewis, could you read the first resolution by title only?
A resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Marshall to execute an aviation project consultant agreement with HDR Engineering Incorporated for design phase services for the construct taxiway lighting project at Marshall Memorial Municipal Airport.
Anybody got any questions about that, or would like to talk about that this time? Drew?
I would just say, I mean, you know, we've talked about this in meetings with MoDOT and FAA. They kind of tell you the way the airport needs to be upgraded. We wanted to use the money for some other things, but they're like, this is kind of where it's going. So the money's there, and this is what they said the next phase is after the taxiway. And hopefully sometime in the future, we'll be able to use that money for something that doesn't seem, no big bang for your buck, but new LED lights would be very nice out there. And I don't know, JD, does any of this money go towards that woo-woo light that keeps breaking? No, Randy? Well, darn it. So that's why it's going towards taxiway and runway lighting, is because that's their next phase where MoDOT says this is where this money's going, so.
So is this cost just for the design of what needs to be done, or is this the cost of the lights and the project and all?
This is just the design phase.
Correct, and this is an abbreviated design phase because most of the design work was actually done previously. They tried to package this with the parallel runway, and MoDOT kicked it. So we have a design on the table, but they are gonna require our engineer, HDR, to kind of retool the design, and that's how they came up with this $22,140 number. That's the actual contract amount. The total project estimate today is $772,973, and that is a combination of all of our available funding streams, non-primary entitlement funds, the NPE, the Infrastructure Improvement and Jobs Act, the BIL. All of those will be contributing in some portion, mostly at about 140, 130, 150,000, per category, to get us to that 700,000 number.
Okay. Can I have a motion and a second to approve that resolution?
Motion to approve the resolution, Green?
Second, Allen.
Ms. Lewis, could I have a roll call, please?
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons, Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox.
Yes,
Allen,
Yep.
Swisher.
Yes.
On to ordinances, Ms. Lewis, could you give the first reading by title only, please?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
Do I have a motion and a second? Take it.
Motion to take this to a second reading?
Second, Patrick.
Ms. Lewis, could I have a roll call, please?
Simmons, Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox.
yes,
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, could I have the second reading by title only, please?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
I need a motion and a second to approve that.
Move to approve the second reading.
Second, Patrick.
Ms. Lewis, could I have a roll call, please?
Green,
Yes.
Paprick.
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
yes,
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons.
Okay. Is there any other council business that we need to discuss at this time?
I have some. I'd like to let you guys know that this will be my last meeting. I'm going to resign from city council, but I greatly appreciate all the time I've had with you guys and serving, and I appreciate all the citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we will certainly miss you, Mr. Swisher. And thanks for all that you have done. Is there any other council business? If none, we're up to adjournment. So I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second, Gibson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Or adjourned?